And Carl, you know what the problem is?
Tell me.
We're all planning to have a great year. Like it's like, oh, we're gonna do so good. We're gonna do better than this year. It's been good, but I know it's gonna be better. Hey, what's the plan? Well, I don't know. It's just gonna be better.
Yeah. You know what? So I would call that most people don't plan on a good year. They want a good year.
Ooh, that's
I want a
good.
good year,
Yeah,
but I don't have a plan for a good
yeah,
year.
yeah.
And I think that, and when we were talking about this, I got a picture of what NFL football team shows up on game day without a playbook. Like,
Mm,
hey, we're going to win and we're just going to run faster than them and we're going to throw further than them. Let's go.
yeah,
Like, no, they got, like, in this situation, we pass the ball. In this situation, we run the ball. In this situation, we do an onside kick. It's all by plan.
that's right.
And that's why it's so secret. Like, hey, and the other thing, if you ever look, the coach on the sideline, what does he have in his hand?
He's always
He's
got his playbook. Always
he,
got
he's
that
got a
playbook, man.
one-page playbook.
That's it. That's it. That he can
It,
literally scan down and say, "Oh, I see what they're doing and I see what's coming against us.
yeah,
Here's
when
how
they
we're going
do
to overcome
this,
it." Yeah.
our
Yeah.
winning plan, we do that. It's
Ooh.
just intentional because
Yeah.
I think, when we talk about like why do you need a plan, it's success is intentional, not accidental,
It's by
right? It
design.
just is.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think it keeps us focused, prevents us from getting distracted, which is so easy. And without a plan, you're just reacting to circumstances and instead of controlling them. That's like my thing. Like I'll like I got a plan that, hey, this is what we're going to work on for the next 30 days.
That's right.
Well, here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. This is a real problem. The problem with that is then I'm talking with a super smart person. Like let's say I'm talking with Sarah Cox. I just grabbed the
Right.
name, right?
Right.
So I'm talking with Sarah, and she goes, "Hey, Carl, let me show you what we're doing."
Yeah.
And I look at it and going, "Holy cow!" And I see her results, or maybe be Nate, or whoever, just somebody.
Sure.
And I look at their plan. I look at like they said, "Hey, I started doing this," and I look at the results. I go, "Hey, that's pretty good results." And then what happens is most people, they stop what they're working on and then they jump onto this new thing, and you go, "Well, wait a minute, that new thing is a good thing." That's right, but it's not in my 30-day plan. And so it takes discipline
Mm.
to keep
Mm.
working on what I'm working on because this was my plan. And not that I can't incorporate, you know, Nate Carver's thing that he's doing. I can, just not this 30 days. And so I'll write down in my little spiral notebook I keep in my front left pocket. I'll write down, hey, call Nate when I finish with this thing that I'm working on here in 30 days and
Yeah.
ask him about his secret beehive,
Yeah.
strategy kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
And but you gotta have a plan. You know what the problem I think oftentimes, Steve, is like when we think of a plan, we think of like the owner's manual of the toaster oven I just got. It's like 85 pages long, to show me how to use a toaster oven. So we think of like, if I get this plan together, it's this real complicated thing, and and that could be a problem. So talk to a little bit about, like, we have this thing that we call the one page business plan.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about why we have a one page.
Hey, and I think it's so important because when it's too complex and there's too many moving parts, most people
Yeah.
freeze and it's like, what's my next step? But what we have found is simplicity really leads to clarity. And if I know here's the one, two, three things that move the needle the most for me, listen, anybody can do one, two, or three things, but I'm thinking about that toaster oven you were just talking about because like even when you bought the TV, it's 85 pages. I bought a
Oh,
pressure
dude.
washer. It's like 90. I'm like, it's a pressure washer. You crank it, put water on it, we're good. But I think what happens is when you get these long, complicated plans, you hate to even open it up. It's like there's too many moving parts.
I get
But
chest
when
pain. I get
oh,
anxiety. Like,
oh, for
literally, I get
sure.
anxiety when I look at, dude, I don't have time to tie my shoe right now, and I got to go through these 85 pages of a
Yeah.
plan. It's
Yeah.
just too complicated. But you give me a one page, I think of it
Right.
like a cheat. That's why cheat sheets are so popular. You give me a one page cheat sheet. I can handle that. In fact,
Yeah.
like on I'm a ham radio operator, and on these new radios, they're really complicated. They have a lot of menus in them,
Yeah.
and there's a company that's making a fortune, and they sell a one-page owner's manual for each of these
Wow.
radios. It's a third-party
Wow.
company, and
Yeah.
they charge $17 for this one little page piece of paper that cost them 50 cents to print out and mail to me, right? And we eagerly buying these things because they simplify this 85 owner's manual into a one-page business plan.
Mm, mm.
And I think having the simplicity of it is great. So
Hey,
I guess the
you know what
next
I
thing,
just thought about too? You know why? Because
tell
I
me.
I bet like in most any kind of electronic you buy, like even I've got hundreds of apps on my phone, but you know what? I only use about 10. And I bet it's the same way in life. It's like you're going to use the things like there's just not that many you're using all the time that move the needle the most. And so when it's one page, it just really gets it down. You know what it probably is, that 80-20 rule, to where 20%
Yeah,
of what you do drives 80% of your results. And let's just focus on moving the needle with the least amount of effort. So,
yeah.
hey, what do you think is a good component? Like I'm thinking about a one pager. How do I take a year's worth of activity, which could seem like a lot, and really boil it down to maybe three or four things that would move the needle for me?
Well, it goes back to what you said just a minute ago. Sometimes we think we have to do a hundred different things,
Yeah.
and we can do a hundred different things, right? I've done a hundred different things, and come to find out, about four
Move the
like
needle.
like
Yeah.
really move the needle.
Yeah.
Like we have our theme days for when we're making our calls.
Right.
Those theme days move the needle more than
Mm,
everything else combined. Like
mm,
all, and we do a lot of other stuff, but all this other stuff that we do, all the social media and the videos, and they're good. The realtor classes, and they're great. Like all, the meet and greets and the happy hours and the appy hours where we, meet and show the different apps, and all the networking and open houses, and all and it's all good activity. But come to find out,
hmm.
like if you just simply do the 4-part daily success plan, you simply do those 4 steps, everything else is suddenly unnecessary.
Right.
And so the same thing when we're coming up with a business plan is like, I get it. Doing these other 87 things would help, but
Hmm.
come to find out, if I just got 4 primary components, that'll get me 98% of the results. And the other 87 might give me the other 2% of results, or I just don't even do those other 87 things and do those 4 things
Even more.
more,
Yeah.
and
And
I
I get,
get
yeah.
another
Isn't
98%.
that amazing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So now I have a what 196% by just doing 4 things. So there's 4 parts to
Okay.
a one-page business plan. Part number one
Okay.
is just simply vision.
Okay.
Now,
All
Steve,
right, now vision.
I,
I'm like I might get a little obscure. Vision. What's because
yeah,
even it's like there's so much to vision.
dude.
Narrow
When
it
I hear
down.
that,
Like I'm
yeah,
like La
when I
La Land, clouds
yeah,
and rainbows and ponies and
yes,
unicorns.
I mean, I have to, like, every time I hear somebody say what my vision is,
Vision
I
is.
almost want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. It's just like I get that taste of bile. It's like, eh.
Ugh,
But come to find out, it's actually a very important component. And I
yeah.
think what it was I didn't really know what vision really meant. Because if you want to
Mm,
just break it down, all vision really
hmm.
is what does success look like for you in the next 12 months?
Wow.
Like where are we at 12 months from now that you're happy with your progress? What is that? What does that 12-month finish line look like for you? That's all the vision is. So it's not all this
Yeah.
gobbledygook and woo woo, and it's just simply like, where are we at 12 months from now that you're happy with your progress? And that's what the vision is. Like, where are we going? But if you don't
Yeah.
know where you're going, you'll darn sure never get there,
Hmm.
right? So
You
you
end
have to
up
go, all right,
somewhere,
well,
but probably not there. Yeah.
yeah, you'll be so
Yeah.
yeah, you most time end up chasing your tail,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
dog chasing its tail. The next part,
Okay. Hey, and
which
hold on. So just real simple. Here's where I want to be financially, hours worked, maybe units, volume over the next 12 months. Don't overthink it. You just,
yeah,
here's where I'm going to be. Okay.
I just
Now
want to
you got a
have,
vision.
I call it my coolness factor. My
Okay,
coolness
cool.
factor.
Yep.
So my coolness factor is, you know, how's things really going for me,
Hmm.
and what does that look like, right?
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
all vision is. Very simple.
Okay.
And this is not like a 12 paragraph vision. This is like, hey, and I think you spelled it out. I want to be closing this many loans. I want to be working this many hours, and I want to
Hmm.
be saving this much money.
That's it. Yep.
That's it. That's
Very
it. Because
simple.
all, yeah, just what does it end? What does it fit? Not how I'm going to get there. Just
Yep.
what does it look like,
There
right?
you go.
So, all right. So the next one would be my goals,
Okay.
and goals is just simply again measurable, like measurable things like X amount of closed loans. I got X amount of referral partners,
Hmm.
somewhere in that range. I got a team member that's helping me on the front end do this, or helping me answer the phone, or do my approvals, or they work the weekends so I can spend the weekends with the lovely Mrs. White. So
Hmm.
these are my goals, that I'm not going to work any evenings and any weekends. Right, that's my
Yep.
goal. Right,
I
and
like
it's
it.
measurable. It's not, and we
Yeah.
don't use words like more or
Right.
less,
Right.
because that's not. We want like a number thing. The next
Hmm.
one is the action items. This is where the rubber
Okay.
meets the road. This is like,
Yep.
what am I going to do? So, like a goal without action is nothing more than a dream,
Hmm.
and dreams are for dreamers, right? And dreamers are for people sleeping, right? We're not dreamers, we're not sleepers, we're action takers, right? And so on the actions, it's like, all right, now that we have this vision of where we want to be, now we have this measurable goals of how many units am I closing, how many referral partners do I have, how many hours am I working, what's the daily and weekly activities that I'm gonna implement to achieve these goals,
I
and I'm
love
gonna
that.
base them not on a theory of something. I'm simply going to find what 100 other loan officers have done that's had great success, and I'm
Yep.
just simply going to pick and choose which pieces I want, copy them, and
Mhm.
these are my action items. Like, this is not hard stuff. It's just
Yeah.
copying an already proven plan. That's the way to do
Yep.
it. That's
Yep.
like Pepsi had a whole lot easier time than Coca Cola, but Coca Cola blazed the trail. Burger King, their growth happened very, very fast because they simply saw what the McDonald's bros were doing and Ray
That's
Kroc
right.
was doing. They go, hey, I don't know, let's
Let's
do
copy that.
that. Yeah, let's do
Yes.
that. I got a
Yeah.
great plan. Let's do that. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's all the action is identifying what's my daily, weekly activity. And then finally is my metrics, which is how do you measure this? Like, so I'm
Hmm.
taking this activity. What do I measure? Like, maybe I measure my calls or my meetings, my leads received, my closings, like what my hours worked. Like, what am I actually going to be measuring here? So that when I hit those numbers, I go success.
That's right.
That I had this vision of where I wanted to be. I had the goal that's measurable numbers. I put the actions in place that's going to achieve those. And then my metrics, I'm measuring those to make sure that I did achieve them. Because if I didn't achieve them, I missed a piece. So
That's
what did
it.
I miss? So I just reverse engineer. What did we miss? Like if we're not getting as many leads as we want, I'd look back at my goals and I go, well, no wonder I don't have as many referral partners as I need, or
Mhm.
whatever that source
Mhm.
is that you're doing it. So
Hey there, if you're loving the tips so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss out on more cool free tips coming your way. I'd also love to hear from you. Make sure to drop a comment below and let me know what you think, or what it is you want to see next. And we'll see you on the inside. See you.
then, of course, one of the final pieces is just execution,
Mm,
right? And this is where discipline comes into play, Steve.
that's right. That's right.
This is where, let me tell you something, motivation will get you nowhere. But that's not true. Motivation will get you started.
Hmm.
Discipline is what runs the engine. Motivation, you turn the key and that little spark, and you have this little tiny motor in there that turns for like 5 seconds, not even 2 seconds, that starts the engine. That's what motivation is. Motivation is that spark that starts it, and then discipline is what runs the engine.
Mm,
And so, execution,
so good.
reviewing our plan every morning, hanging out with other successful people that are executing the same plan or very similar plan to me, where we're accountable to each other, and nobody
Yep.
yelling, nobody screaming, but just accountable. Like your boot camp, man. It's
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. And then time block in to make sure that we're actually executing the plan. And the good news for us is it takes about 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's it. Like 2 hours a day. The other 6 hours,
It
you
don't even
know,
matter what happens. Like
it,
if
it,
you
it
get the most
yeah.
important 2 hours done, everything else can come at you. And
Yeah.
you'll figure it out. Just don't let go of
Yeah.
those 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
So
powerful. Hey,
that's
and
kind of the,
one thing that was interesting, I did a big study on motivation and discipline, and the number one characteristic of discipline? It's
tell me.
routine. It's a routine.
Mm,
And it was so aha. Of course, we know that, but part of the execution is not only reviewing the plan, but it's building a routine and then getting in a community that helps you stay accountable even when the feelings aren't there. So good.
yeah.
Okay, so what? Give me some other thoughts on we're building the plan. What else do I need to be thinking about?
I think the one thing that we have to keep in mind is flexibility.
Okay, talk about
So
that.
flexibility is the key. So look, plans should evolve, right?
Mm.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're getting our results. If we're executing the plan and not getting the results, and we go, all right, well, what's changed?
Ooh,
You know that
yeah,
what's that book? Who moved my cheese? What
yeah, yeah,
changed?
yeah,
What changed? You know, like if like here, people say, well, what do you mean by that? I'll give you just a real simple solution or a real simple example. Let's say, what was it back in September ish, October ish? Rates took a dive, right? They
yep,
went down, and so we went, hey, quick, rates took a dive. Let's double down on our past database real quick.
yep.
And so we were flexible on our plan and we took advantage of a situation. And then we went through our entire database for those that it made sense it's going to help them. We made them an offer, right? A good portion took us up on that offer. We refinanced those people and
Hmm.
then rates kind of ticked back up there. This all happened really fast. I was thinking like a 2 week period, maybe
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
something like that. And hell, maybe it was 2 days. I don't know. It wasn't long, right? But because we saw that opportunity, we had flexibility. We implemented the refinance plan for our past database, and then as soon as rates started ticking back up again, we go, all right, back to the original plan. And so you got to have, like, if you're not getting results, you have to look at why aren't you?
Mm,
What's changed? What opportunities are brand new that needs to change? And and I would say at any point that you're feeling overwhelmed,
yep.
simplify it even further, right?
Mm,
Simplify it even
that's so good.
further
That's so good.
because doing something
Hmm.
beats doing nothing
Mm,
every day of the week.
mm.
So cut yourself a break and simplify it. You know, Steve, we talk about this all the time that I've got what's known, and this is a real thing. You and I talk about this, that I've got what's called a low complexity ceiling, which is a real thing. And it's probably a little bit of ADD mixed in there somewhere. But like if there's a 15 step plan, I have a hard time with it. Like I
Yep.
really do. I have a hard time on. I get overwhelmed. I get a little anxiety, or if somebody's uh, mapping me through like their 15-page P&L, like
Yeah.
the numbers start fuzzing together, and I just kind of I have trouble paying attention to that. And kind of what I'm known for in the industry is taking complex situations and simplifying them.
Hmm.
And so if the one page business plan is overwhelming to you, right? It might be, right? It might be. Then simplify it even further and let's call it an index card business plan. Like whatever you got to do, simplify
Yeah.
it even further, cut
Even
yourself a
further.
break,
Yep.
simplify it even further, do even less things, but pick the few things that moves the needle the most and double down on those and then make sure you're hanging out with the right people.
I love it, man. That's so good. Such great insight on how to have an effective plan so that we can live the lives that we deserve. So great job.
All right, so what's our next step here, Steve?
Hey, here's what I would say, and I love how simply we've laid out the one-page business plan. And anybody who's listening and says, "I'd love help mapping out what the next 12 months looks like," and working through how to simplify the actions that are going to help you move the needle the most. Carl, you guys book into my calendar. It's my calendar. Go to resultswithsteve.com. We'll jump on a 15-minute call, and I'll walk you through how to make sure you've got something really set up that you can take immediate action on to see big results this next year. So, resultswithsteve.com.
Results with an S, resultswithsteve.com.
That's it. That's it.
Cool.
Let's do it.
I like that, man. I like that.
I-
So I guess that's it. Yeah. Hey, you got to do something, right? Again, you got to do something, and doing something is always better than nothing. And if you're going to go off of a plan, gosh, would it be nice to go off of a plan that literally thousands of the top loan officers across the nation, it's a plan just like what they're following. So,
Yeah.
I've always thought we have a very unique advantage in this market, Steve, because
Yeah.
both you and I are actually in the mortgage industry, right? We're not just trainers; we're actually in the industry. I've always thought we've had a huge advantage because we get to see what all the top players are doing. We talk
That's
to
right.
a lot of loan officers, right? You
Mhm.
talk one on one to more loan officers than any other person that I know of,
Yeah.
right? And then I do these big meetings where I hear what everybody's doing and what the winners are doing, and you find there's doing these small handful,
A
like
handful
the
of
top
things.
producers are doing a small handful of the same thing, even though they're not talking to each other necessarily, right? The person in Arkansas has no idea what the loan officer in Maine is doing, and come to
Yeah.
find out the three or four things that they're doing that's moving the needle from the most, it's the same thing.
It is the same
And
thing. Yeah.
so it allows us to see an immense number of case studies,
Yeah.
and come to find out, you don't have to be real smart just to see what's successful, because you see the same things being done over and over and over again.
Over and
And
over. Yeah.
yeah, trying to blaze your own trail through the jungle, that usually doesn't work out so well. You usually getting beat up by a chimp or a chump or something. So anyway, so
Snake
results
bit,
with
mosquitoes.
mosquito
Go to
bit.
resultswithsteve.com and I'll help you. I'll help you put your
Yeah.
plan together.
All
So,
right. Sounds good. Appreciate
all
you,
right.
brother.
See you.